wondered why your network suddenly slows down or stops functioning altogether? Could it be a Layer 2 issue? Welcome to a new episode of Tech Spectrum Pro, where we unravel the mysteries of network engineering. Today, we're diving into the world of Layer 2 issues, a common but often overlooked area of network troubleshooting. Layer 2, also known as the data link layer, is where a lot of the magic happens in a network. It's the level that handles physical addressing, error detection and correction, and even flow control. But when things go awry, like a faulty Ethernet cable or a switch behaving badly, your network's performance can take a serious hit. It's like a highway with a broken down car, causing a ripple effect of traffic jams. Just as a seasoned mechanic can spot and fix car troubles, a skilled network engineer can diagnose and resolve Layer 2 issues. Remember, knowing how to troubleshoot Layer 2 issues is an essential skill for any network engineer. Now, it's time to dive into the troubleshooting process. Troubleshooting network issues is a bit like being a detective. You're presented with a problem, and it's your job to figure out what's causing it, and then how to fix it. It's a process that requires a keen eye, a systematic approach, and a good understanding of network principles. Let's start with the first step in our troubleshooting process: identifying the issue. When you're faced with a Layer 2 problem, it's important not to jump to conclusions. Instead, gather as much information as you can about the issue. What exactly is the problem? When did it start? Are there any error messages? The answers to these questions will give you a clear picture of what you're dealing with. Once you've identified the issue, the next step is to isolate the problem. This is where you'll need to roll up your sleeves and dig into the nitty-gritty details. It's about testing each element of the network to identify where the problem lies. For instance, if you're dealing with a connectivity issue, you might start by checking the physical connections, then move on to the data link protocols, and so on. The aim here is to narrow down your focus to the exact point of failure. Now, this might seem like a daunting task, especially if you're dealing with a complex network. But remember, the key is to be systematic. Start from the outermost layer and work your way in. Or, if you have a hunch about where the problem might be, start there, but be sure to check everything. Remember, in networking, the smallest overlooked detail can be the cause of a major problem. Once you've isolated the problem, the next step is to implement a solution. This could involve reconfiguring a switch, replacing a faulty cable, or any number of other solutions. The important thing is to make sure that your solution addresses the root cause of the problem, not just the symptoms. And once you've implemented your solution, don't forget to test it. Make sure that it's actually solved the problem and that everything is working as it should be. Now, you might be thinking, that's a lot of work. Isn't there a faster way? Well, yes and no. While it's true that some issues can be resolved quickly with a simple fix, many network problems require a more in-depth approach. And rushing through the troubleshooting process can often lead to missed details and incomplete solutions. So while it might take longer, a thorough systematic approach will usually lead to better results in the end. And there you have it, a step-by-step approach to troubleshooting Layer 2 issues. It starts with identifying the issue, then isolating the problem, and finally, implementing the solution. And throughout the process, it's essential to remain patient, persistent, and methodical. As you can see, the troubleshooting process is a journey, one that requires patience, persistence, and a methodical approach. Theory is great, but let's see how this works in the real world. Dive into the deep end of network troubleshooting with practical examples. Let's start with a common Layer 2 issue, a malfunctioning switch. Imagine your network is experiencing intermittent connectivity issues. You've narrowed it down to a specific switch. What's your next move? First, review the switch logs. They could provide valuable information about the problems, such as error messages or unusual activities. Next, check the status of the individual ports. Are they all functioning as they should? If not, there might be a physical issue with the switch itself. But what if the switch appears to be functioning correctly? Then it's time to look at the VLAN configuration. VLANs, or virtual local area networks, allow you to segment your network for better management and security. Let's say you're having an issue where devices on the same VLAN are unable to communicate. This could indicate a problem with the VLAN configuration. Start by checking the switch's VLAN database. Are all the VLANs correctly defined? If they are, you might want to look at the trunk links. These are the network lines carrying multiple VLANs. If they are not configured correctly, VLAN traffic might not be getting where it needs to go. Another common layer 2 issue is a spanning tree protocol, or STP problem. STP is designed to prevent network loops, but if it's not configured correctly, it can cause issues with network connectivity. Look at the STP status on your switches. Are they all in the correct state? Are they blocking and forwarding as they should? If not, you might have found your problem. In all these scenarios, the key to successful troubleshooting is a systematic approach. Start with the most likely issues and work your way down the list. And remember, sometimes the issue is not where you expect it to be. These examples show that with the right approach, even complex layer 2 issues can be resolved. Having the right tools can make the troubleshooting process a lot easier. And when it comes to layer 2 issues, two such tools are packet capture and show commands. Let's start with packet capture. This is a powerful tool that allows you to intercept and log traffic passing over a network. By capturing packets, you can get a detailed look into what's happening on your network at a microscopic level. This can be incredibly helpful when you're trying to diagnose a tricky layer 2 issue. Next, we have show commands. These are commands you can use in the Cisco iOS to display specific types of information. They're a little like the read command in a traditional programming language. They allow you to pull up all kinds of useful data, from the status of interfaces to the contents of routing tables. With these tools in your arsenal, you'll be well equipped to tackle any layer 2 issue that comes your way. That's a wrap on troubleshooting layer 2 issues. We've delved into the intricacies of networking, specifically focusing on the layer 2 of the OSI model. We've walked through a systematic step-by-step process to troubleshoot these issues, providing a clear path to resolution. From understanding the problem, isolating the cause, and finally, implementing a solution, we've seen how a methodical approach can be the key to unlocking even the most complex networking puzzles. We've also seen practical examples of these layer 2 issues, bringing the theory to life and showing you exactly how these problems can manifest in a real-world setting. Moreover, we've introduced you to invaluable tools in your networking toolkit, packet capture and show commands. These tools aren't just useful, they're essential in diagnosing and resolving layer 2 problems. Keep practicing, keep learning, and remember, every problem is an opportunity to grow your skills as a network engineer.